Hey guys, I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP expert plumber, coming to you on YouTube Live. And I love this because, man, this has been a crazy week. There's a lot of things going on with the Texas plumbing license, and that's really what I want to talk about today. And some of y'all know I've invited a lot of people in here today. We'll kind of see what happens. But man, I woke up in San Antonio this morning at about 3:45. I had to do a show down there, and it was great. I've been on a few shows in San Antonio. I love it down there. But man, the Texas plumbing license. For those of y'all that don't know, we had to have a rally last year. I say last year, this year, June, after the last legislative session. And they literally kind of voted to get rid of the Texas plumbing license and kind of upset a lot of people. The good thing about it is we held a rally in June. We went down to Austin. We spoke at the Capitol. I actually got to speak, actually got to MC it, which was really good. But, here's what's wrong. We went down there and I tried going in advance and tried talking to, my senators, my representatives, and some of them did talk to me. Some of them didn't want to. Gee, go figure. This beautiful face, I would think everybody would want to talk to me. Not really. But, the thing is, the Texas plumbing license was not created so that I can have a license. It was not created so that I can charge people a lot of money to do plumbing. That's not the purpose of it. The Texas plumbing license was created to protect the health of the people of Texas. And sorry about that. I've actually still got my phone on. I normally don't do that, but I'm going to turn it off right now. So the Texas plumbing license was created to protect the health of the people of Texas. Now, the state of Texas has never given the Texas State Board any money, the plumbing department, any money. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. The Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners is really a self-sufficient agency and always has been. And, the problem is we give Texas a lot of money. And I can say that as a plumber because I've been doing it for a long time. I actually just renewed my license the other day. It's $420. But getting in there and doing what we do is huge. But the state of Texas brings in $5.2 million a year from the plumbing license, from license renewals, from testing, all the money that it brings in. And I don't think that includes fines or anything like that. Anybody else that wants to know or that knows about it, please leave a comment. Got William Rosebrock, one of my moderators in here. Great to see you here. Thank you. And yes, it's a lot of money, Will. I'll settle for $5.2 million a year. I can handle that. Josh, where do you live, Josh? Grayson, when you say the sound is great, that's because we picked out these wonderful mics. They work well. But here's the deal. The state of Texas brings in $5.2 million from the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners. But then it only gives them $2.5 million to spend on what's wrong. And there's something wrong there. I'm sorry about that. So the thing that I say is, if you're in Seattle, you're a long way away from me, but I know people up there. So Josh, I can actually help you out with that. Okay, so when we had the rally, the governor knew something was going on. So the day before the rally, he actually agreed to use his executive order to extend the license and the board for 2 years. And when I say for 2 years, that's not necessarily true because like I said, he used an executive order. So he based it on the fact that we don't have enough plumbers in Texas because Hurricane Harvey. Hurricane Harvey 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, actually created a lot of damage, and we get it. And there weren't enough plumbers in Texas to take care of all the problems. I get that too. But if we base the whole thing on Hurricane Harvey, that means we're going to have plumbers standing around with nothing to do when there's not hurricane problems. So, what do I think? I think that we need to find a way to make it easier for people to get a license in Texas, but not make it easy. And I know that sounds crazy, but right now, the testing, we still have to go down to the Texas State Board, and I know they're working on things. And if anybody in here, man, these comments are coming in quick. So, guys, if I don't see them or skip over them, put it in there again or holler at me. And I know William's going to help me some. But here's the deal. I'm also a lead AP. And there's a testing agency that does everything on a computer. And I literally went down there, took my lead AP exam, and it immediately told me whether I passed or not. Now, the neat thing about that is, say we did the plumbing exam that way. If we could get the plumbing exam out of the building on 42nd Street, 42nd and a half Street, if we could get it out of that building, get the written part online where it's a computer, plumbers around the state can go anywhere in that state, anywhere in their area, someplace a lot closer than Austin, and take that written exam. And it could tell them immediately, hey, congratulations, you passed. This is the next available test date. Do you want it? And you could literally look down at it and say, hey, you know what, man, I'm getting married that day, or I'm having a funeral that day, whatever the case may be. And you may decide, hey, that date doesn't work. So it lets you schedule another date. So there's a lot of good things that we could do. But the problem is the governor's office has board seats to fill. You know, I told you he stepped up the day before our rally and gave us an executive order to extend it, but nothing's been done since then. Okay, that was June. He was supposed to have, according to the Sunset Advisory Commission's report, have board seats filled by September the 1st. That hasn't happened. And I know that because we were supposed to have a board meeting October 7th, I believe, and that got canceled. So not only are they not filling the seats, but they're not having board meetings. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. So, you know, my question to you as plumbers, and, you know, I sent this out all across the nation to a lot of different people and said, hey, look, what happens in your state if we either, like Patty said, if we don't require a license in the state of Texas, or it goes back to being regulated by cities, or it goes under TDLR, which, and don't get me wrong, I love TDLR for what they do. Brian Francis even said, hey, I'm the Walmart of licensing. And what that means is, look, man, he oversees 39 different agencies. I don't think he needs to oversee an agency that really protects the health the way that plumbers do. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that I think that we need to fix, that we need to change, that we need to make better. And I would really love to see how that happens. Because if the governor hadn't filled the board seats yet, and the board can't help make things better, how are we supposed to improve? And, you know, it's a tough one. Mr. Paul Peck, it's good to see you here. Man, actually, it's great seeing you here. You're doing great. Your numbers are killing it. I'm gonna go through here and read some of these comments and catch up. Josh Smith, man, like I said, I'm in Richardson, Texas. We're a long way away. But I do know I know actually 5 plumbing companies up in the Seattle area that are fantastic. Definitely make sure you send me a message. I've got some really good companies up there, so that could be good. Diego's in Calgary. Welcome from Canada. I appreciate that. Tarver, how hard is UA state to state to transfer if you're an apprentice? I think if you're an apprentice, you just need to go and talk to your training director and see what the possibilities are. If you're wanting to go to some place that has a lot of work going on, they don't have enough apprentices, it's probably easier to do. If you wanted to come to Dallas right now, I think Dallas has apprentices on the bench, so they're liable to tell you, look, it's just Dallas isn't going to let you transfer. But it kind of depends on where you're at in your training. There's a lot of things that'll go into it. First thing I would do is contact your training director. There's a very good possibility that that could happen. Barney Film 85, hello. Happy to see you on a Monday. And yes, it is a happy Monday. First and last, I'm from Texas trying to get an apprentice training program. There you go. Grayson's already asked. From Austin. Fantastic. Man, the training program, the Apprentice Training Center down there is fantastic. I've been there before whenever I was an instructor for the UA training program. We actually had to go down there and go through, actually, it was when I was an instructor, but I went down there for the Plumbers Continuing Education in Texas, and their training program is fantastic. I think the guy's name's TJ Dodd or something like that. The guy that was, I don't know if he's the training director or the business manager. He's a really good guy, though. Jay, master plumber here, been licensed in 3 states. It has nothing to do with hurricanes. You're right. People don't want to work in our trade because they make $40,000 a year for very hard labor. And see, Jay, an apprentice starting out makes about 40 grand a year. And I say that because here in Texas, they make about 33 a year to start off. But man, I was going over this with one of my apprentices the other day. They get about 4 raises a year. They get the cost of living raise, which is divided up into 2 raises. Now that one's not as much, but then twice a year, every November, every January, August and January, they get about 2 raises a year that are about $1 a piece, a little bit more. Actually, it's 5%. So really it's about $1.50. So those are some pretty good raises. So, I mean, think about it. You go from 16 to almost 20 at the end of your first year. So, man, to me, if you can make 40 grand your first year, 50, 60, 70, and 80 the next, man, you're doing pretty good. But you got to find people that want to get in and work hard and do what needs to be done. I completely agree with you there. Barney, it'd be great if you could get an instant answer on passing or not. I completely agree. You've been waiting for 2 weeks now for an answer as to if Minnesota will reciprocate. I get that. And it's different. Different states are completely different. I know Texas is kind of hard to get a license in, and it's because of the quality of the test that we have. So we don't reciprocate with as many states. But I know that they've been working on that to try to allow more plumbers to get in here, especially if you've had your plumbing license for a while. So it can be a good deal. Hello, Miss Frances Lang. How are you? You know what, Frances, and those of y'all that don't know Frances Lang, she actually owns a plumbing company down outside of Houston. She actually spoke at the rally too, or I don't guess she spoke, but oh my gosh, she was such a major part of it. And she is also part of hashtag 71K Strong. And, if y'all have ever got any questions about the plumbing license and things like that, especially here in Texas, go to hashtag 71K Plum Strong on Facebook. And Francis, you might correct me. It's either the licensed Texas plumber or texaslicensedplumber.com. And I know that she helps work with Mary and Diane and that, and they really keep that thing up to date with positive, real, true information. And that really is a good thing. Francis says, do you know where we are in the interview process for the board appointments? What have you heard? Well, Francis, just last week, I actually called down and talked to the appointments department, and it didn't sound good. And I don't mean that bad, but I asked, where they are. Do they have their people yet? Have they picked them yet? I even asked if they'd started the interview process. Now, remember, there are 6 empty seats, 3 of them from 2 years ago, 3 of them from this year. They hadn't even got the interviews done. And I say that because I asked, hey, have you even started the interviews? And they wouldn't even answer me. And I would think they would answer me because I applied for the position. So I think they would at least say, look, we're not through with interviews, or no, we hadn't started them, or, yes, the invitations are out, a lot of things. But, I mean, guys, look at me. I talk, I tell the truth. I see things the way I see it, and I call it what it is. Now, I did tell them that in the beginning. Hey, look, I may not be the guy you want because I'm going to tell people exactly what I think. And when I see a problem, I'm going to look at you straight in the eye and say, hey, this is a problem. And I told them, I said, I may not be the guy you want. And they said, you know what, Roger, you may be exactly what we need. I think I had about 50 plumbers come up to me the day at the rally and say, look, will you apply to be on the board? And up until that point, I really didn't want to. I am not a politician. I don't like politics. Probably don't like most politicians. But, man, our industry needs something good to come out of it right here in Texas with everything we're going through. And, Francis, did you apply to be on the board? I know that Mary did. I know that Diane did. I've had them both in here on interviews before. I've tried to get Mary down here or up here. With her being down in Houston is kind of tough, and I completely understand that. But I'm telling you, this is a very smart lady that understands plumbing and what we're going through and what we're doing. It is always great to talk to her about things. Man, the comments are flying in. So, Barney, no, gave me an answer on passing the master license in 2 or 3. Oh, New Orleans, North Dakota. Sorry about that. I don't have my glasses on. 2 or 3 days. Plumbing board is great to deal with. Man, that's fantastic. And I'll tell you what, the good thing about Texas is, and they were still grading things by hand, so I think that they're working on things like that. The neat thing about it is it's really easy on the rest of them. The journeyman exam was the hardest. I think the master, they tell you right then. God, I gotta think about that. I think I knew my master before I ever left. Med gas, things like that, the WSPS, the multi-purpose fire protection, all that. And they tell you right then. And that part of it is great. You don't have to wait on anything. You go in, you do your deal, and you get out of there. Fantastic. Super J. So if Texas becomes the wild, wild west, for plumbing, I can change an arm and a leg and be rich overnight. That's you charge an arm and a leg. Absolutely. But here's what you say. So Super J, tell me, are you already licensed? Because my question is, if you're not, you're going to have to find a way to prove to people that you're as good as a licensed plumber. And that's what I was telling people is, look, I'm not so scared of it because I'm going to start advertising. Look, I've had a Texas license. I know what's required to do the job right, to do the job safe. There's a lot of people that are just going to wake up one day, like Patty said, hey, tomorrow we're all plumbers. Well, I don't want him coming and working on my house if I have no way of knowing how good of a plumber he is. And, that's the whole purpose of the Texas license. Granted, the board was created to keep the people safe, but they do it by licensing people and making sure they know what they're doing. So that, to me, is really a big, big deal. Yes, well, you're right. A lot of bad things will happen. Med gas, cross connections. There's so many things that can cause problems with your family, cause problems with you, cause problems in your city, in your life. Man, we're almost at 14,000 subs. That's pretty good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So Super J, area Texas, yes or no, yard lines? In my area, Texas, yes on yard lines, yes. Yes. Lady Moore, natural, thanks. Okay, so wait, what question did I miss? Do you have to pull a permit to repair water service in Texas? Absolutely. Roger should be in charge. I love that. I don't think that they'll let me, but I can't even get them to interview me to be on the board. So, they don't want me. I understand that, which it's kind of hard to believe. I love looking at this smiling face every day. So anyway, yes, I'm joking. Yes on that. Yes, lady. Yes, Lady Moore. Francis, do you have your plumbing license? Francis is the owner. There you go. There's the link. Texas licensed plumbers. See, I knew that I was close. Uh, and then hashtag 71K Plum Strong on Facebook. Guys, these are great groups to get in, be involved with, because you get to see what's going on. And I promise you, I've talked to Frances, and she spends hours going through documentation to make sure every bit of information they put out is 100% correct. And Frances, hats off to you. Thank you so much for everything you do. Currently studying the UPC 2018. Good for you. I did a video on that. Lady More Natural, I did that video to show people how to use that study guide. If you'll go back and do that, I promise you that makes it so easy. I love that. Paul Peck. Heck, I'm in Florida and I have to have state drywall license. That requires proof of experience and testing. I also have to do 14 hours of continuing education every 2 years. And Paul, I kind of like the way that's set up, although 14 hours. We have to do 6 hours every year. They're talking about changing that, or they were talking about changing it if it went over under TDLR, just because they wanted to make it where the license, I have to renew my license every year. And to me, I wish they'd make that every 2 years or 3 years. There's not a lot that's going to change that I can't keep up with. But what I would like to see them do is change it to every 2 or 3 years and make it where you only have to do CE that often. Those of y'all that are in here that have a Texas plumbing license, do me a favor and just leave a comment down below. Yes. That way I know, how many people have it. Are we talking to Texas people? Are we talking to people just from around the country? I know that we've got all kinds of them. So yes. Okay. And doctoral. So Lady More Natural, are you like becoming a mechanical engineer or something? What is it you're doing? Just trying to find out. Let me see here. Michael Draper made $65,000 my first year in service apprenticeship. Absolutely. There's good money in it. Okay, so Paul, also have to have a county competency card for painting. That's good. Which verifies years of experience and that all insurances are valid throughout. Love the enforcement. Man, I wish that we could get, and that's what I would like to see. Paul, it's really funny. I think if I was on the board, the very first thing I'd say is, look, let's raise the price $10 for everybody. Each person or each license really doesn't matter to me. But if we raised it $10, there are 51,000 individuals with licenses. Now, I've got multiple endorsements, so I'm part of the 71,000. But there's 51,000 individuals, there's 71,000 licenses and endorsements. So my thought behind this is at $10 more per person, that's 510,000 to 71 or 710,000 extra dollars. You put that strictly towards enforcement and make sure that, the handymen aren't out doing plumbing, which is something we fight with all day long and every day. You put that money towards that and say, look, this is just to bring enforcement officials in, to set up stings, to do a lot of different things. And you try to make the world a better place. And I think that's a great way to do it. I'm like you. I think enforcement is huge. Michael, yeah, that is wonderful. It really is. Thanks. Well, I had to look back up at that. Sam G, 20 years old, looking to get into plumbing. Plumber in open shop. I haven't done physical work, but that's the type of work I would want. Absolutely. Sam, we've got a deal, and I don't know if Will's put a link into it, dinner, but we've got a deal to a mini course. We made a video. You can look at it. Plumbing school's open. It teaches you or asks you and helps you understand, do you want to be a commercial plumber or residential? Do you want to do service or new construction? Do you want to be union or do you want to be non-union? And I've done all the above. So it's a great video for me to make and just kind of explain to people the differences and let them know that there's options out there. So it's pretty cool. Michael Draper made $25,000 and an apprentice in new construction. Okay, new construction is a little bit different. Tell me this, Michael, were you commercial or residential new construction? Because I know sometimes there's a difference there. Francis, I didn't. I thought you, Mary, and Diane would be better fit. You know what? You, man, as smart as you are, you would be great on the board, and I mean that. Uh, Makes me wonder the governor's even intent, given we are not even through the interview process yet. You know, it's pretty sad. And think about this, Francis. It's and everybody really, not just Francis. We're almost 2 months past when he was supposed to have the second three people on the board, and he still doesn't have the three people from 2 years ago. And man, the questions you got to ask is why not? What are we doing? Are we delaying things so that the Texas State Board doesn't have time to fix things to make it right to keep us from going under TDLR? Because all the plumbers that I've talked to, nobody wants to go under TDLR. And I say nobody, there's a few, don't get me wrong. And look, I love TDLR. I love Brian Francis, the executive director, is a great guy. I think he's got a heart of gold. But I also think that the Texas State Board is established to do what we need done as a standalone agency. And if it's all about saving money, look, tell the state of Texas that. Don't just pull all this out of your butt and say, oh God, this is, the best thing for plumbers. No, it's not. It's not even the best thing for people wanting to get into plumbing because you're lowering the quality of the education. Now you're going to turn them out. Because think about these plumbers that you send out have to compete with people like me. And when I've studied and I've worked hard and I know that I know plumbing to the nth degree, and you're putting them up against people like me and say, here, go compete with this guy for a job, man, especially when you water it down, it makes it tough. And my whole thing here is look, let's keep it where it's tough to get a plumbing license in Texas. That way we know we've got the best people. Because to me, that's what it's all about. Okay, let's see. Back down here, Jamie Cohen, hello. Girl, me and you need to get together and talk. Jamie and I are connected on LinkedIn. She is phenomenal. We actually spoke on a panel together at VidCon. It was great seeing you in here. I appreciate that. So, yeah, intent. Thomas, do apprentice hours expire? I earned enough hours to take the journeyman exam, but they were earned several years ago. Thomas, I believe, and Francis, you may chime in on this if you know for sure. I want to say that they're still good. You will have to register as an apprentice before you can apply to take the test. But yeah, I believe as long as you've had the hours, I think you've always got them. So I would definitely check into it. But yeah, Super J's and RMP, I love it. Grayson, yeah, I don't think there's a time limit either. You're right. Man, that jumped far. Yeah, Jamie, thanks for joining. I love that. Let me see here. Sheila G, no answer is the answer. You're right. And Sheila, it's good to see you in here again. This is one that we've talked about for a while. They've had since June, guys. That's when we had the rally. That's when the governor stepped up and said, look, I got this. I think that's exactly what he said. Hey, plumbers, look, I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm going to use an executive order and we're going to make this happen, which is fantastic. He did, but nothing's happened since then. And man, I mean, think about it, Francis. And I've talked to you about all this stuff before in the past. This doesn't leave us very long to get in there and fix things and make things right. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners goes under sunset advisory review again in 2 years, depending on how all this turns out. So it's going to be crazy. Thomas, yes. Grayson, yes. Yeah, take that test no matter what. Grayson, I doubt that they're afraid of me. I mean, we are talking about the governor of Texas. He's got people on his team. But I sure say what I think. And look, I don't mean it bad. Man, if they were doing the right thing, I would be standing here preaching about them because that's what it needs. We need somebody to step up and do the right thing and make things happen so that We've got a board. We've got a board in place. We can fix the problems that need to be fixed and then move forward from there. But I'm telling you, man, there's some good people that have applied because I know a lot of them. So, man, let's get this thing done. Uh, and I watched the video highlighting now. Cool. Lady Moore, just finishing my MBA. Congratulations. Ready to open my plumbing company, True Plumber. I work currently for a property management company. So, what part of Texas are you in? Or what part of the world are you in? Very interested. Jason, let's go Stros. Yes, you know what? Man, I'm supposed to be in Houston tomorrow night, and I need to holler at Julie and ask her if we're going. Speaking of Francis, supposed to be in Houston tomorrow night. I don't even know if I'm going yet because we called down to get rooms, and I mean, like, God, rooms are like $700-800. There's a World Series going on down there. Kind of cool. It's great what Houston has done. So, Francis, I don't know if you're a fan, but if you are, congratulations. And Jason Smith, man, congratulations. That's cool. Sheila, pressure must be applied to get the interviews done. So, here's my deal. We've tried applying pressure. We did a rally. They spoke the day before. Every time I talk about it, I'm like, look, call your state senators and representatives. Tell them how you feel. And don't just tell them. And guys, I know that one of my big things is I say, look, we protect the health of the nation. But here's what we really do. The Texas State Board, the way it is, number one, it does oversee the plumbers that do protect the health of the nation. But you know what? A young man out of high school, even one that's been in trouble, can get a plumbing license and can have a good living and can do good things. And then eventually one day, even own his own plumbing company. There's a lot of things that being a plumber allows. Now, are there things that I think need to be changed? Absolutely. Is there personnel on the board and whatnot that need to be changed? Absolutely. Maybe that's why they don't want me. Because I'm going to be the guy come in and say, wait a minute, guys, this ain't right. Why are we doing this? And you're right. I'm vocal that they probably really don't want me down there, and I get it. It is what it is. But at least I'm willing to stand up and say, hey, look, let's make this thing right. And I think that's what we need. So that's why I ask. So Sheila, pressure. Is it, do we need to have another rally in Austin? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll go to Austin any chance I get. I love it down there. But I think we may have to have another rally. I think that we need more plumbers. And I think last time we said that there were about 7,500 plumbers. Man, we need more. We need more people down there to let the governor and everybody else know what's going on. Now, it was really neat last time because there's a lot going on. But senators and reps and all them were down there. We need to find out what we can do to make things happen when we know the governor is going to be there. And anybody who has connections with the governor, I've been trying to get in and talk to him. I'd love to interview him. I'd love to, God, get him on the show. I would love to talk to the governor and say, look, how did we get where we're at? And what do we have to do to get out of there? Guys, I love Governor Abbott. I think he's done a lot of great things while he's been in that position. But, I like George Bush. I like the one in between them. Trying to think, Rick Perry. We've had some good governors here in Texas that have done a lot of good things. And Texas is growing. And that has to do with what the governors do, what they do from that office, because they make it where we can bring businesses here, where we can bring people here. So it is a good thing. And, man, let me interview George Bush or President George Bush or Rick Perry. I'd like to ask them what they think about it. How did we get to the position that we're in, and what can we do to make it better? And I want to help. And you may not want me on the board. That's fine. At least hear what I have to say, because, you get to hear this part of it. But I mean, I have sat down and made lists of, hey, if I were on that board, here's what I think we need to fix. Or if I got to talk to the governor, here's what I think we need to fix. Now, and look, Governor, I voted for you. I voted for Trump. I think that we need to make a lot of things great, and it's going to take a lot of us doing it. And man, if you don't want me part of it, that's fine. I don't have to be, but I at least want to tell you, look, I've looked at this long and hard and thought about it, and I think that there's ways that we can make it better. So let me ask y'all this: those of y'all, I hope some of y'all have read the Sunset Advisory Report, Sunset Commission report. I've read it probably 3 or 4 times now. And I've also read what a lot of the representatives and senators and things like that wrote to try to change things. So let me ask y'all this. If you are familiar with it, do me a favor and tell me what you like, what you don't like. What would you do if you got to be on the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners for one day? What would you do to make it better? And what are they doing now that you think is not good, that if you could come in and put an end to it, you'd say, look, I would make this go away. Let me know what you would do on both sides of that. Okay, let me see here. Yes, they're going absolutely. Got a lot of Strohs fan in here. That's a great thing. Okay, so Lady More Naturals in Vegas. I love that. There's a lot of work going out there. That's a good thing. Paul, I'm going to get back down there to you in just a second. I am trying to see. Man, we had a ton of questions come in. Sorry about that, guys. So, okay, an apprentice in new construction. Michael asked you about that a while ago. There's Francis again. I read those. Don't know about that. Hello, Jamie, it's so good to see you in here. It really is. So we are right down here. Grayson. Got a lot of Strohs. I love that. All right, pressure. That's where we're at. So thumbs up on the enforcement idea. It's not the Wild West here, but enforcement, not very high there either, man. I hate to hear that. Jesse Howard, M37. That's great, man. I'm at M35. So we've had our masters for about the same amount of time. We'll put a link in here to the plum study. And guys, all that is, it's a free mini course to ask you questions to help, and not really just ask you questions, but explain things to you. When I got into plumbing, I didn't understand, construction, service, residential, commercial, union, non-union. I didn't understand that. I just thought plumbing is plumbing. And you can ask a lot of these people in here. There's a lot to it. Man, always support the teams. So, yeah, and that's a good question, Will. Barney Films 85, do you want more enforcement up there? See, we don't have much enforcement here. There's only got 12 or 13 enforcement agents or officials when all the seats are full. And the bad thing is they're not full right now. I think we've had some people retire, and we have not had the money to replace them because the state gets all they want first. So it's kind of tough. Good, Francis. Thank you so much. Francis, I asked why they canceled the last board meeting, and yeah, rescheduled. Good luck with that. They're going to wait till January now, I'm sure. Yeah, that would be the next 3 months. And I'm going to be surprised if they have it if the board seats aren't full. And, I know that the existing board and Lisa don't have anything to do with that, but I think that that's what's going to happen. They're just going to go straight to January. They're going to wait till it's close enough. Now, they may be saying, hey, we want to do this, or hey, we want to do that. But you know what? I turn around and put it this way. Francis, you own a plumbing company. What happens if you tell somebody you're going to do something and you don't do it for 6 months, or you don't do it for a year? That's what we're looking at. Or you don't do it for 2.5 years. 2 years ago, they were supposed to have these seats, 3 of them filled. He's got a great opportunity. And here's what's going to happen. He'll fill them with his people, which is fine. But but I hope that they look out for the best interest of the plumbers and the people of Texas, not just whatever the incumbents want. You know, our House of Representatives kind of did us wrong. So I think a lot of those people know that they're going to have to be up for votes again, up for reelection. And I know a whole lot of plumbers are going to say, hey, these people are not good. They didn't do good things. So it's going to be kind of funny to see how this goes. So get back up here where I can see. So Jay's activated in Oklahoma too. That's a good thing. The only plumber in Texas with, yeah, and you may be. That's a good way to look at it. Michael, I was working for a small company and had no idea what I was worth. Service for me is the way to go. I'm agreeing with you. Jason Smith, hello. Great to see you in here. Jay Mayab. Other trades should have a license in Texas. Also, handyman. Oh, don't even get me going there. So they have to hear the law. Most don't know they can't work on plumbing. They know, they just don't care. It's not enforced enough. And, you know, when they do get in trouble, they just get a little slap on the hand. That they ought to get kicked in the tail and made understood. I talk about it all the time. There's a whole lot of people that talk about it all the time. You know, they know that they can't do plumbing. They just don't care. They're going to pay a fine. They're going to get in trouble. They're going to say, okay, I got a $2,000 fine, but I made $200,000 doing plumbing. So they don't care. Problem is when somebody dies, they'll shut that company. They'll open up under another name and nobody even knows. It's bad. We've just got to find a way to make it better. Jesse, you would think Governor Abbott would be all about high quality licensed plumbers, considering his experience getting third-degree burns and skin grafts from a water that was set way too high. You know, it's really sad. Yeah, and I mean, you're right, and I completely agree with you. I was in, I'm trying to remember if it was Houston or San Antonio about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the water was so hot. I mean, I jumped. And I mean, I'm a plumber and I can handle hot water. I mean, I jumped. It was crazy. And I meant to go down the next day and tell them. But when I woke up the next day, it wasn't as bad or later in the day. And I'm kind of wondering, did they bump it up early in the morning because we got so many people taking showers that if they leave it down low, they run out of hot water. But that's scary because, I mean, that was scalding hot water. So I completely get it. Barney Film, William Rosebrock. Yes, I would love to have some actual enforcement up here. See, that's great. I think everybody, as long as we understand what we do and the quality and the value behind it, I think we'd all like to have it. So that's a good thing. Paul Peck sure knows his stuff. He would be a great board member. Yeah, Paul, they're not going to like me. I tell them when they do something wrong. Super J, politicians sound like my stepkids. You know, that's pretty good. All right. Dario Galetti. Hope I got that right. Hey, I'm in Daniel from South Africa, 17 years, thinking of becoming a plumber. Any tips? Man, you're in the right spot. Subscribe and ring to the bell. If y'all hadn't done it yet, man, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. That way you don't miss out when we go live, when we post videos and things like that. And also, if you like what we're talking about here, go down to the bottom, give us a thumbs up, and just let us know that, hey, you like what we're doing. We really do appreciate that, and YouTube appreciates it too. So thank you. Dario's glad to have you here. Happy you're here, man. What time is it in South Africa right now? I used to work with a plumber at TD Mechanical. He was from Johannesburg. Really, really nice guy. Lady Moore, Vegas. Oh, no. Julie Wakefield. Yes, we are going. 800. I don't know what the 800 is for there, Grayson, but okay. Caleb, what's up, brother? You and Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs have been doing what you guys can to drive attention, absolutely, and interest back to the trades, plumbing included. What advice would you give to someone just out of high school who hasn't considered a job in the trades? First thing I'd say, Caleb, is consider it. Uh, there's a deal that I saw a while back, and I need to get with one of my plumbing coaches, business coaches. Guys, I tell you all the time, hire coaches. If you want to grow in plumbing and business and social media, whatever it is, hire a coach, get the right people behind you. It is fantastic. But anyway, she was going to send me a deal. And basically what it is an apprentice or a young person getting out of high school, going through the trades for 5 years versus a person getting out of high school and going through college for 4 years. The one going through college has about, I think she said, $250,000 in debt, and they get a job making about $40,000 a year. Somebody who goes through the trades, on the other hand, has made about $300,000 over those 5 years, but then by the time they're done, they're making about $75,000 a year. Very interesting way to look at it, but man, Caleb, that's why I tell kids all the time, look, man, getting in the trades is fantastic, and going to college isn't for everybody. And I have people send me messages all the time that say, look, I shouldn't have gone to college, but I did because my parents forced me to, because my girlfriend, that's my puppy dog, because somebody forced me to. And the big thing about it is, man, it's not for everybody. So you've got to look at, is that the kind of life you want to have? And look, that's your decision. It's not mine. But I tell kids getting out of college or out of high school all the time that, you know, just because you go to college doesn't mean you're going to get a great job, doesn't mean you're going to get the job you want and love and whatnot. But what it means is that you're going to have college debt or your parents have paid for it. But man, I see people all the time that get out, go to college, and they call me or message me 3 years later, and they're like, look, I hate sitting behind a desk. I don't like what I'm doing here. I want to be a plumber. I want to be in the trades. I started to say be an electrician, but God, nobody wants to be an electrician. I'm joking. So anyway, let me scroll down here a little bit more. Perfect. Not staying in Houston, though. Whoa, that disappeared. Where do we go? Right there. Perfect. Caleb, absolutely. Hello. Hi there, Julie. Yes. Paul, she did not get to come to Vid Summit, and she was so disappointed because there's so many of y'all that she knows, and she's like, look, I want to meet these people. So it's great. Jess Howard's, the hours only count if you have an apprentice license. Okay, and that's true. And Jess, I guess the way that I looked at that is I thought all those hours were documented by an apprentice license or apprentice registration. So yeah, that you're right. Plumbers Rally number 2, it may have to happen. Mustafa Puzik, I am 16 and been watching your videos for about a few months now. I decided that I'm going to do plumbing a year ago, and your videos really help. Man, I love that. That makes me feel good. Make Texas great again. Thanks, Paul. Mustafa, that's fantastic. I get people that come in all the time that somehow they got on YouTube and they searched plumbing, and I came up and they're like, look, that's what I want to do. And if any of y'all have watched this and said, look, I don't want to do plumbing because I don't want to be anything like Roger, that's great. Go over to Paul Peck, Drywall Tube. Man, that guy's doing great. And it's another good trade. It's something that you can get into right out of high school. You can learn, you can grow, and you can really, really do well. Jason, they're not trying to get rid of it again, but the governor has not stepped up and filled the empty seats on the board. And we really need him to do that because in order to make things better, he's going to have to fill these empty board positions. That way we can make things right. And I don't know why he's not doing it, but it's not happening. 915 Richie Plumber. Absolutely. You're right. I skipped over Sheila G. I'll come right back to you. Testing dates are getting quicker. I got a message on Facebook earlier that somebody sent off for a test. They're still about 4 months out. I think they should be within 2 months. And I think that there's a way to get that done. We just need to make it happen. So whatever we got to do, that's what it should take. Once I got my hours in, I should be able to get my license really quick. I also think, since I'm up on a soapbox now, I also think that once I start getting close to my 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 hours, wherever I'm at, I should be able to send in my license and say, expected completion date, this date. That way, the day I get it, boom, I can go test the next day. That will allow me to schedule it in advance. So anyway, just me and my ideas. Yeah, test date took 6 months, and I've heard of some taking even longer. So even 6 months isn't bad. Francis, if you're still in here, what's the longest test date you've heard on a plumbing license? 6 months. Enforcement at 100%. I completely agree. Jess, I did like the plumbing company owner license instead of the RMPC. We'll talk about that. Let me see here. However, the master should still be required above the owner license. And here's the deal. That really didn't change a lot. They were calling it a plumbing company license or whatever it was, plumbing contractor's license. A, a company, anybody. My wife is the owner of this company, and I say that I started it. It's my company and I run it and things like that. But I mean, really, she owns it. She makes sure everything happens. But even if she wasn't my wife, she could have started this company and hired me. So really, that doesn't change a lot. I didn't like the way they had it worded, but to me, if it doesn't really change a lot, why fix what's not broken? One of the biggest plumbing companies around is owned by an electrical company. Okay, they sell electricity, but they're not in plumbing. But they hired a plumber, a master plumber, to use his license to run things. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, guys. There's great money in the trades, and I mean, Paul, I'm sure makes a great living. He has been doing this a long time. I've been doing this a long time. Now, I could probably make more money if I wasn't running a plumbing company, but I'm having fun at it anyway. So we need the right people in the seats. Absolutely. William, who better to be on the plumbing board than an actual experienced plumber with a beautiful, you left out the word beautiful, with a beautiful handlebar mustache. See? Did me wrong again. Paul Pack, second offense for no state required license is a felony. See, I love that. God. Paul, I might have to talk to you more about this because, and number one, I doubt they're going to let me on the board, but that's what I think. You've got to make it serious enough. And, to me, the Texas State Board is supposed to be making people aware. And there's not any videos. Here in Texas, if I clear my history, I can go in and Google the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners, and my videos come up first. For a small fee, I could teach y'all how to make that happen, but it's a training thing. It is what it is. Grayson, well, yeah, let's get me to 20,000 today. We're at 13.9. We've only got 7,100 to go. Come on, let's make it happen. Doug McDougall, how are you, sir? Just got here. Great. No, man, anytime you come in, it is great to see you here. Lady Moore lives in Nevada. That is fantastic. I love it out there. I love going out to Vegas. It's a lot of fun. So let me see. Grayson, absolutely. Jason Smith, plumbers with a high school diploma fixes what your college degree messed up. Man, it's a funny way to put it, but you're about right. I have nothing against a college degree. I just don't think it's required for everything. Even a high school diploma. And, this is one thing that it's up in the air because I know a lot of people that are against it, and I didn't know why. But one of the things the Sunset Advisory Commission talks about is allowing journeymen and tradesmen, I guess tradesmen could already do it, allowing people to get their journeyman license without a high school diploma. And I always thought, man, what's wrong with that? There's nothing at all wrong with that. And I was for that until I was at the last board meeting, and Francis was there. And Rick Lord from Local 68 in Houston stood up to talk. And when they talked about that, he said, here's why that's not a good thing. He says, you will get kids that will drop out of high school early thinking they can just get into plumbing and they can start making money and they can have a career. And here's the problem. And Francis, I know you're in here. We've got some other plumbers in here. How many of y'all know people that got into plumbing that did not stick with it? Because that's where it becomes a problem. If a kid knows he can quit high school and man, just go to work for a plumber, get his plumbing license, and he's rich, the next week, which it's really not that way. So please don't think it is. But what happens a year or two from now when he doesn't make it, or when he gets out and he says, hey, this is too hard, or hey, I don't understand it, or hey, I just don't want to deal with poop. Remember, we're talking poop about plumbing. What happens then? They don't just go back and say, oh, you know what, I'm 3 years older than everybody else. I'm going to come back and get back in high school. They have a problem then. And when he brought that up, I thought that is a great thing. That is a great way to look at it, because I would hate to see a kid, guy, girl, whatever, get out of school and think, I'm just going to quit and I'm going to go become a plumber. I quit school my junior year, but I turned right back around after getting into plumbing and thought, you know what? I love this, but I want to go back and graduate with my class. So I did. But then I got back into plumbing anyway. The good thing is I got my younger brother and my stepson Will both into plumbing for one summer, and each one of them were smart enough to say, hey, look, I'm going to college. This isn't for me. So that's a great thing. And they're both doing very well. So college is for a lot of people, but it's not for everybody. So I like to look at it that way. Grayson, I'm trying to teach the trades, man. I am trying. And Doug, I'm right there with you. I got in plumbing in 1980. So it's been fun. Trades, teaching kids trades. Lady Moore. Went to college. Parents, absolutely. It always is. Dropped out, got a trade, teaching kids trade. I love that. See, I was an instructor in Local 100 here in Dallas. I've been to the instructor training program in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And that's why I believe that the union is great for employees. When I was an employee, when I was a plumber in the field, I love being in the union, great benefits. It was fantastic. And when I got in the union, I learned a lot of things. So I understood that there was a completely different way to go about teaching. And man, it was fantastic. If you did your apprenticeship in Job Corp, does that count? I don't know. Yes, and I do know. If you can get the right people to write you letters of recommendation, and I know this because I had an apprentice that had 2 years construction and plumbing in the military. And when it came time for him to get ready for his tradesman, I said, look, see if you can get all that information. And he got it all, and we sent it. And with all the letters, certifications, and recommendations that he had, he got credit for his plumbing service in the military. And a great thing about it is, man, he passed his journeyman exam with flying colors, and he's a fantastic journeyman. So congratulations, Brian. I'm very proud of you. All right. Couldn't agree more, Thomas. There are very few jobs, careers that have high starting pay. I graduated college in 99, started as an engineer in training, and or a MIT, if you're a mechanical engineer in training. Start out at $15 an hour. Just make sure the job has room to learn and grow. Absolutely. And that's what's good about getting into the trades. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber, an electrician, a drywaller, you can do whatever you want to do, and you can move up as far as you want to move up. The only ceiling that's going to stop you is the one that you allow or the one that you put there. So different way to look at it, but man, that is fantastic. Are there any efforts to employ a lobbying firm? Man, there are lobbyists, and I'm glad you're an RMP. I love to see that. Thank you so much. Here's what I'll tell you. The United Association and PHCC both have lobbyists that go down and talk. Those of y'all that don't know Mark Rizzo and the Rizzo Report, check him out. I connected with him on LinkedIn. He puts out some great stuff. I've actually talked to him about having him on here. And man, I would love to get him on here to talk about things like this, because He is a lobbyist. That's what he does in Washington. And man, from what I've heard, he is great at it. So that's one that I'm wanting to talk to and see what we can do. So I'm working on it. Mark Rizzo, if you see this, come on, brother. All right. So let me try and move down a little bit without going all the way. KB Life, I don't know why your message got retracted, but it did. Francis Lang, high school diploma. When we did the vote, format about 400 responses, close to 50-50. Okay. And I get that. You see my side. I think, and here's what I told Lisa Hill. I talked to her a few weeks ago about this. And here's my thing. I've had people work for me that had their tradesman license, but wanted their journeyman license because I will pay more for that. But what I looked at was to keep somebody from quitting school. And here's the way I presented it to Lisa. And if I was on the board, this is what I would push for. Number one, I think that we should teach plumbing in the school to where after 2 years training in the school, maybe somebody gets out and they work 1 year as an apprentice and can get their tradesman then. But a journeyman, if you do not have a high school diploma or GED, you've got to wait till 4 years after your graduating class in order to take the plumbing exam. And that way it keeps anybody from quitting. It keeps anybody from thinking, look, I can just walk out of here and go be a plumber. Guys, I don't want just uneducated people in this trade. This trade is too important for that. And there is a lot to it. You know, there's math, there's tools, there's safety, there's OSHA, there's code. There's a lot of things you have to know, learn, study, and just be really, really good at. You need to be a little smart to do it. I'm not saying you have to be a rocket scientist because I am not, but you've got to be smart enough to know how to study, how to learn, how to implement what you've learned and move forward from there. So let me scroll back up here. Francis, hello. KB Life, college is definitely not for everybody. College is very expensive now these days. So I honestly do believe trades are the better way to go, at least in my opinion. Man, I wish I remember who it was, but I saw something, I believe it was on LinkedIn the other day. And maybe Gary Vee or somebody shared it, I don't remember. But whoever got up and spoke before, and this is like the state, the Washington, D.C., Senate, House, whoever it was. This guy gets up and talks, and he's talking about all the different people and how much their education cost them 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Cost of living has gone up like 10%. And, or no, let me correct that. Cost of living has doubled or tripled. Cost of college has quadrupled or gone up as much as I think 10 times. But income has only gone up like 10, 15%. So no, college is not worth it anymore because they have jacked up the cost so much that it's crazy. And in trades, you don't have to pay for that. And man, you can make a pretty decent living if you want to. So I agree with you, sir. Ryan Mick, do people in the union get laid off frequently? Ryan, I'll tell you this. The whole time I was in the union as an employee, I never got laid off. I chose to quit. I chose to leave. And my last employer, I just decided I didn't want to work for. And after our conversation, they decided they didn't want me working for them, and it was a good way to go. If you and you know, whenever you see me in my videos, and guys, if you hadn't done it yet, if you like these videos that we're doing, please give us a thumbs up. If you hadn't subscribed yet or rang the bell, do that. That way you see when we put out new videos. But the neat thing about it is I've got videos where I tell people how to be a good apprentice, how to be a good journeyman, how to get into the trades, how to do a lot of things like this. To me, the neatest thing is if you come in and you're a hard worker, and I don't even mean, man, you don't have to be a superstar. Come in and work hard. Give people 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. Do the right thing. Always learn. Always show respect for the journeymen that are trying to teach you the trade that they know. Man, if you will come in with that kind of an attitude of, hey, look, I just want to be good. You don't even have to want to be great. I just want to be a good hand. I want people to say, hey, I want him on my job, you'll never get laid off. They will find a way to keep you. They will move you into other jobs. They will do a lot of different things. But if you're one of those people that you're constantly hiding, you're trying not to do work, you find more ways not to do work than you do find ways to do work, you're going to be looking for a job. And that's not going to you, but I mean, that's what kind of people. There's sometimes we got to hire people because we need bodies. And guys, I was a superintendent in the union for years on some of the biggest jobs in Dallas. And there are times you've got to have bodies, even if it's to go clean something up, to go pick something up, to move this pile from there to here. But guys, if you want to be that kind of employee that always has a job, you come in and just do the right thing, you'll always have a job and you'll be sought after. And that's a great position to be in. So yes, Ryan, we do these lives every Monday at 4:00. We tried 5:00. People asked us to move it up a little bit. We've actually got quite a bit of people in here, so it's been pretty good. I kind of like it. I've got 20 people in here and 19 thumbs up. So hopefully we're doing something right. That always makes me feel good. So Lady More Natural. I held on to Job Corp diploma. I have the proof. I love that. Is that enough? My teachers made sure I got it and then ran out to my car before they give it to me. I was the only student for 6 months. That is fantastic. Thank you, though. Here's the deal. I would try if you did plumbing and you got proof of it, and somebody will say, hey, look, plumbing was done here and done well and things like that. I know Texas will go out of their way, and God bless Lisa Hill. She does a lot of things right. She will go out of her way to try to help, veterans get credit for what they did, and even try not just veterans. I talk about Lisa Hill. 21 people in here and 21 thumbs up. I love it. I'm doing something right. Thank y'all very much. Lisa has gone out of the way to help. I've had people apply here that, had a criminal record in Oklahoma. And they're asking me, man, look, can you start me right now? Can you do this? And it's like, no, I'm not getting in trouble because you messed up and now you need a job. Don't get me wrong. I want to help. And I wish, oh my God, I wish I could just put you to work. But I'm not doing it. It's not worth me getting in trouble with my license or losing my license. So my thing is, look, call down there, talk to Lisa Hill, talk to Steve, talk to whoever you have to talk to see what you have to do to make things happen. Because, man, getting a plumbing license in Texas is a big deal and it pays well. So, my thing is, look, do what you have to do to get your stuff straightened up, cleared up, and fixed, and then come back and talk to me. And sometimes that upsets people, but, it is what it is. Caleb, have you considered speaking, if you haven't already, with any of the civil engineering groups, plumbing specific, at any military installations here in Texas? Caleb, it's funny. I talked to a guy that was a part owner of Freeze McNichols, and they build the largest water treatment facilities in the world. And it was really neat because when I talked to him, we were on a plane, so he couldn't get up and run away. And he looked at me after a little while. He said, do you speak? And I said, well, I'm talking right now. And he said, no. Do you speak in front of people? And I said, you know what? I never have. And he looked at me. He said, I can make $1 million a year off you. And it was really funny because the thought of getting up and speaking never crossed my mind. He wanted me to come and talk to his architects and engineers, especially when he found out I was a lead AP. And, I should have pursued it quicker, worked on it and things like that. Military installations, oh my God, I would love to get out and talk to, people coming out of the military. And I've got some great people I'm connected with here on YouTube and LinkedIn that help people with stuff like that all the time. As a union person, I would love to go talk to military people and tell them about career possibilities after they get out. Because, between the union and the military, man, they will pretty much pay them to help them become plumbers, welders, pipe fitters, anything at all like that. So I do. I love what the trades have to offer people. And man, I would love to help anybody get into the trades, and that's why I do what I do. So, man, I would love it, Caleb. I think that would just be fantastic. So let me see. Jess Howers, one of the problems the board used to have with people failing the test was that they couldn't read the test. Remember, plumbers have to be able to read and interpret code. You're right. You got to be able to read it, study it, memorize it, learn it, know it, interpret it, everything. And there's a lot to that. But to me, if we can put a plumbing exam on a computer, can't we do a written audio test also? That way they just go in, they tell the proctor, whoever's doing the test, hey, by the way, I don't read. If, they need to, hey, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Which one do you think's the right answer? Man, I'm all for it. But how are they going to be able to read blueprints? How are they going to be able to read the directions on a box telling them how to fix something? So, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I think that there's a lot of different things we can do, and I want to help everybody. But you also got to look at it. Is that really helping them or not? Because if you help them get that license and then they come to work for me and they tell me, look, I can't, read the blueprints, or I can't read the notes that come with this new type toilet to tell me how to put it together. Are they really helping me, or are they hurting me? Or are they hurting my customers? So that's kind of the way that I look at it. Doug, biggest hurdle to clear is 71K plumb strong and only 20 watching this live feed. I don't disagree with you. I sent some stuff out on Facebook to try to invite people in. A lot of people don't like a plumber that talks a lot. It's okay. I'm trying to make the trade better. I'm trying to make the license better. I'm trying to make the state of Texas better. So you're right. That's a hard way to look at it. Thomas Curl, only 20 because they don't quit working until sundown. You know what, man? You may be right there. This will be funny because, like you said, only 20 watching a while ago, 17 now. But, the thing is, come back and look at this in a few days. I don't know. I can't get into my videos from here without messing things up. The last time we did a live, I think it ended up getting, I don't know, I might be able to pull it up right here. So what I'm doing, just so y'all know that I'm not ignoring you or anything like that, I am trying to go into YouTube and see when my last live was to see if I can see that video and see how many people were coming in and watching that. And man, that's not a good way to look at it there. So what? Here we go. I will be able to find it right there. Yeah, even the one that I did 6 days ago, which will be 7 as soon as we get off. Almost 300 views, it looks like. And then I got another one the week before, almost 400 views. And the week before, 400 views. So yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of people watching this. And Paul Peck, 21 quality live viewers, not bad at all. You know what? And you're right. There's been a lot of engagement and a lot of people talking about it, and it really is good. The good thing is, since I put it on Facebook, a lot of people will come back over to it in the next few days, hopefully, and see it. We need to make things better. It was in Texas when I got it. That's cool. I actually drove through San Marcos today. I woke up at 3:45 this morning in San Antonio, did a TV show in San Antonio, Fox 29. And at 10 o'clock when it was done, hopped in the Jeep and headed back home so I could be here tonight for this. I love what we're doing. I love plumbing, if y'all can't tell. All right, let me see. James McKay. If you were a plumber in a different country and moved to the United States, would you just need to take your test? I'm assuming it's what you meant. It's part of it's missing there. What you're going to have to do, you're going to have to prove to whatever state you move to that you have experience. And I know that with Texas looking for plumbers and needing plumbers, I own Texas Green Plumbing right here in Richardson. I'll tell y'all right now, I'm looking for plumbers. I'm looking for licensed plumbers. I don't care if you're a master, a tradesman, a journeyman. I don't care what endorsements you have. I'm looking for plumbers, but I'm looking for great plumbers. I'm not looking for just, anybody who walks through the door. Most of the plumbers I'm looking for aren't sitting at home right now watching YouTube. Most of the plumbers I'm looking for are working for another company, and they're probably the top plumber at their company. But we pay more, we pay better, and man, I've got benefits that would surprise a lot of people. It's a good thing about being in the union. You have a pension, you have insurance for you and your entire family that's paid for. So if I get that right plumber and get him in here and we can do good things, it's a beautiful thing. So I love that. That's funny. uh so Thomas Kroll, Freeze and Nichols, one of the best consulting firms in Texas. Great people doing great work. Man, I wish that Mr. McDonald would have gotten in touch with me, or I could have gotten in touch with him and done things. He was such a wonderful person. Talking to him on the plane, and it was really funny because he was talking to Julie most time. We had gone to Atlanta or wherever it was she was talking, and he talked to her for a little bit, and finally he looks over at me. He says, "So what do you do?" And I just looked at him. I said, "I'm her bodyguard." So that's all I do. And he started laughing. I said, "No, really, I'm a plumber." So then we talked a little bit, and it was very interesting because such a wonderful person. Like you said, Freeze Nichols, amazing. Man, when it comes to water treatment, water purification, they're the guys. So it was really, really cool. Any of y'all know Mr. McDonald? Tell him Roger's finally speaking, and if he wants me to come talk to architects and engineers and anything like that, I would love to. Such a great guy. Okay, so there we go. 21, I agree. JK, thanks for your efforts and information. Good channel. Thank you very much. Guys, if you hadn't subscribed yet, please subscribe and ring the bell. That way you don't miss anything. And if you hadn't done it yet, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows this is a good video, that plumbers would want to watch this to find out about the plumbing license. So thank you. Jess Howard, for apprentices coming out of the military VIP program, I have high marks for all but one of them that have worked for me. Okay, so you brought VIPs in. That's good. I love that. I tell you what, if I was in the military coming home, and the military is going to help supplement my income while I go through the apprentice training program. And if you come in as a welder, I think that they will even send you to a welding school for a few weeks, where literally when you get out, you're pretty daggum good. And I think you're good enough that you can at least pass some tests, pass some certifications, and go out and become a welder. And man, I just think that is phenomenal. So I love what the United Association is doing to help them. We talked earlier about different trainings. PHCC, man, they are good. We've got CEF here in Dallas, but these are all people that are really trying to make it all better. I see Nicole Smith came in there. How are you? Still searching. I get it. Yeah, we need to work on that, Nicole. So let me see here, Jess. So that's it. Man, we're good. X-Country Adventures. Hello, how are you? Nicole, I am so glad you're here. So, we've been going on for a little while here. It's almost time for me to get off here in about 10 or 15 minutes. So, number one, if you are in Texas, leave me a note down here and say, yeah, I'm in Texas. Thanks for the thumbs up. 18 people in here, 24 thumbs up. That means we're doing something good. I love that. Here's why I tell people to subscribe. I really think that we're putting out content that helps plumbers, and it helps people who want to get into plumbing. It helps the tradesman. It helps the apprentice. It helps the journeyman. It helps the master. I love plumbing, and I love teaching people about it. I love teaching them what I know. We have really lately blown up on social media. That's a wonderful thing. Paul Peck's in here. Saw him, 2 weeks ago? I don't think it was last week, the week before, out in Los Angeles. Ran into some amazing people out there. And it was really neat because, me being a plumber, walking into a social media marketing event, and you've got people that walk up to you and are like, hey, you're that plumber guy. I've seen your videos. Or when you climb on an elevator and a guy looks up at you and says, I know you from somewhere. And you say, yes, sir, Mr. Harmon. I've seen you at other events. And a guy with him looks over at you and he says, I don't know who you are, but I know I've seen your video and you are the expert plumber. And I'm like, okay, I love this. Guys, the world is getting smaller because we can make a video like this and reach out all the way around the world and people see it. I've got people in here from Africa. I've had people in here from Germany, from New Zealand, man, so many different places. Nicole, searching for companies to maybe hire me on a helper or apprentice called the UA here in Jacksonville, but still got to wait till December to get a date. And here's the deal, Nicole. I would keep trying. And why I say that is you never know when a big job's going to kick off. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, wait, we don't have enough apprentices. And we deal with that here in Dallas a lot. We will have, man, all the apprentices are sitting on the bench and I know not all of them. So I'm kind of stretching it out a little bit. But say you've only got 3 or 4 apprentices on the bench, a couple of journeymen on the bench. You've got some working out of town, but they're working out of town because they want to be. And you go down there and apply, they're going to be like, yeah, look, we don't need anybody right now, which is true. Because with the few on the bench, they're like, look, we've got people we still need to send out. But then a big job kicks off and somebody needs 40 plumbers and 40 apprentices. Now those 2 on the bench, that doesn't fill the roster. So it's kind of tough to get in there. Jorge Montano, I'm thinking I said that right. I don't have my glasses on, so Jorge, I'm working on it. Montano, starting play for journeyman, it depends. If you're a true licensed journeyman, union scale right now is, God, almost $33 an hour. Now, I can bring you in on a 6-month trial. I can start you out a little bit less than that to get you in here to see what you know. If you tell me, hey, look, I've got residential service experience, I can do slab leaks and leak detection, I'm the kind of guy you're looking for, man, we're going to talk. And you're probably not going to make less than all that. So here's what I tell people. Starting pay is at 32, whatever it is an hour, 32.68 or 58, somewhere around in there. 78. I'm close, I know. You can make that kind of money as long as you got the kind of experience that I need. I'm in the union here in Dallas. They don't train residential service, so they don't have a lot of residential service plumbers over there waiting to come to work for somebody like me. But they are building a residential service training center over in Mesquite, and there's a lot going on to try to help make it all better. And I'm telling you, if you work for a company right now that isn't union, they may want to look at it and say, hey, we may want to change later, because there are some things going on in the union that I think are fantastic. But the neat thing about it is it's great for the employees. And to me, that's what it's always been about. That's why I became a union company after I turned out and opened up my own company. I became a union plumbing company because it's what's best for the employees. And to me, that's a big deal. I don't want just to get rich off other people's labor. I was that other labor for years and made a lot of people a lot of money. I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was good for the employees and they made good money and had good benefits. Some of the first plumbers that I ever worked for are almost 70 years old and still working because they don't have a pension. They don't have a 401k. They don't have a retirement. So that's part of why I joined the union, but it's also part of why I became a union contractor when I started my own company. I think for the employees, it's an amazing thing. And to me, man, if you're not about your employees, what are you about? So, Dionysus, hello. Just subscribe to the channel. I love that. Thank you very much. Checks in the mail. Today, great content. 25, live in Connecticut, and I'm looking to start my plumbing career. Any quick advice? Absolutely. Number 1, you need to binge watch these videos because they will teach you a lot about plumbing. Number 2, I've got a video that talks about, plumbing school is started. Go watch that video, and there's a link to a mini course. It's free, and it will teach you what kind of plumber you want to be. It'll ask you questions. It'll wait for you to answer. Decide what kind of plumber you want to be. That will help you determine what kind of job you want to get. We're working on another course. I have people all the time send me messages and say, hey, look, I would really like to learn to be a plumber, but there's no school out there teaching things the way I talk about. And I think becoming a plumber is a big deal. But I also think that learning to do it right is even more important. So let me see. Ryan, not even sure if this comment will go through. Ready to start an open shop apprenticeship. Yeah, it'll go through. Ryan, I started out as open shop when I was an apprentice. So here's what I would tell you, and go watch that mini course. But the thing that I would tell you is, if you want to be open shop, do you want to do commercial or residential, service or new construction? That's going to help you determine what company you want to go to work for. Then what you got to do is start talking to them. That's a big deal. Colin D. Can you come from another state unlicensed with 3 years experience and say go to Texas and get a tradesman license right away? Colin, if you can prove that you've got 3 years experience, contact the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners before you even come. Start sending them all your information. Let them tell you that, not me, not anybody else in Texas. Because if you can prove to them that you've been working for 3 years, and they'll take your tax statements, they'll take letters from employers, they will take all kinds of great information. But get all that information, get it sent to the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners, and find out. Oh, look at that. We hit the 14K, guys. Thank y'all very much. I do appreciate that. They will help you because we want plumbers. And people ask me that all the time. They say, hey, why? Sorry, my headphones are messing up. People ask me all the time, why don't they want plumbers in Texas? Oh, they want plumbers, but they want good plumbers. We want the best plumbers in Texas. That's why our test is hard. That's why when I went and spoke before the committee, Sunset Advisory Commission committee hearing, they were like, look, can't we make it easier to get the test? Well, yeah. Why don't we make it easier to become a doctor? I mean, we need doctors. There's so many that the price is high. Let's let everybody become doctors. The price will go way down. It's not a good idea. But that's what they wanted to do with the plumbing license. So it really, really blew my mind. So my thing is, get your employers, get anybody you can, even plumbing supply houses that you bought materials at. If your plumbers or the employers can't write you a letter saying, look, yes, he's got, 6,000 hours, 12,000 hours, whatever it is, get that on a letter. You can go to the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners website, get them to fill out the contractor verification form to say, yes, this person has worked this many hours and yada, yada, yada. Texas will work with you. First thing you'll have to do, though, is get an apprentice card, become a registered apprentice, because you've got to do that before you can ever take any exam. They've got to know that you've got your hours, you're clocking them, you're booking them, and that's the way it's written in the book. So you got to do it. So Nicole Smith, also, I did research and reached out to the Northeast Florida Builders Association, and they offer a program as well. However, no intakes till March. I get that. Turning in here keeps me motivated. Tuning in. Nicole, thank you. We should probably talk and see, what is it you want to do? How do you want to do it? Why do you want to do it? And I will do anything I can to help you. Anybody that wants to get into the trade, that's what I'm about. How can I help you get into the trade? How can I help you get in faster, smarter, better? How can I make it all good for you? Because, man, look, I want to help people. That's what I do this for. If Paul Peck's in here, so Paul knows, look, it's not all about the money, because YouTube doesn't make you rich, at least not yet. But, my thing is, look, I love helping people. If y'all hadn't done it yet, go over to Paul's channel and check it out. He does the same thing I do. He teaches you how to do sheetrock, though. He teaches you how to do tape and bed, and mud and paint and sheetrock and all kinds of cool things. And we talked about doing a collaboration together. And Paul, we need to. I love the idea of, look, how do you cut in a hole in the wall and make it where the drywall guy won't kill you afterwards? You really want to piss off a drywall guy? You walk through the hall when there's a leak and you carry a sharpshooter and you tell them, look, just tell me where to make the hole. This is my sheetrock tool. And they will normally cut the hole for you. And trust me, I know because I've done that. So it's funny. So Nicole, I'm glad that this motivates you. I love what I'm doing. I think y'all know that. Nicole, you've been coming here a lot. There's a lot of people in here that have been coming a lot. I do. I love what we're doing and I love helping people. So this is really great. Condi, thanks for the info. Looking into moving, become a union plumber. Kansas City's plumbers union is almost impossible to get in. You know what? It's not impossible to get in here, but you've got to do your due diligence. They're going to put you through an interview process. They're going to make sure that you really want to be a good plumber, not just, hey, I want to join the union so I make good money. They want you to do things right. And that's really what it's all about. So those of y'all that are in here, if you're a plumber, put that you're a plumber. If you're not, like if you're a drywall guy or something, you can put that too. But put where you're located. And Paul, yeah, I know you're in Florida. Plumbing trucks around here pretty much have a permanent help wanted sign. You know what? And man, I get it. And you know what? We really should do that on our trucks. I see that all the time. And you know, Nicole, I'm glad you asked about that. We're actually, and Paul knows because I had a great meeting. Guys, here's a cool thing about social media. These relationships that you make, man, they're real. Paul and I have been talking to each other through social media for God, what's it been now, Paul? Almost a year and a half. And man, we ran into each other in Los Angeles at a conference, and it was amazing. But I mean, man, it's like we know each other, and we're trying to help each other out and hook each other up with the right people and talk to the right people. But going back to Nicole, you know, we talked about sponsorship and the opportunities, and I am talking to some wonderful people. I've got 4 different people that we're talking to about sponsorship opportunities right now. 2 or 3 of them could be complete game changers. And Paul knows because I talked to him about it in Los Angeles. But I mean, 2 or 3 of these could literally be like, hey, we can help you fill up all the sponsorship positions you want and help you grow. And we love what you're doing. So Nicole, it'd be kind of like we talked about last time, where all of a sudden I'm talking, it's like, hey guys, look, by the way, this video is sponsored by Texas Green Plumbing, the best plumbing company in Richardson, Texas. By the way, if you want to come to work at Texas Green Plumbing, call up here and talk to Amber at 972-442-4101. Thank you so much. Short and sweet. I'm not going to sell anything I don't believe in. And that's cool because a lot of these companies have already said, hey, look, we know there's certain products that you don't agree with, that you don't like, you don't recommend, you don't use. And I'm like, man, you're right. So they're like, we would never ask you to talk about those or support them or anything like that. And I'm like, good, because that's something I would not do. Tyree Shears from Los Angeles, currently attending Los Angeles Trade Tech College, majoring in plumbing. And I want to know, where do I start as far as gaining experience as a plumber? You know, the good thing is, Tyrese, is out in Los Angeles, and I talked to some plumbers in Anaheim last time I was there. I've been speaking a lot lately, so somehow I always end up either speaking or attending. It's a lot of it's on the West Coast. The cool thing is, in California, you don't have to have a plumbing license. So, and I've told Nicole this before, go in and take the mini course, find out what kind of plumber you want to be. And if you don't know, I was talking about it a while ago. I've got a video called Plumbing School. There's a free mini course. You go take it, and it helps you figure out what kind of plumber you want to be. So let's say you want to be a residential new construction plumber. I would tell you to drive around the nicest neighborhoods of LA, see people building houses, ask them what plumbing companies do it, and apply there. If you want to do commercial, same thing. Drive to the biggest jobs. Go up there, go in, speak to the general contractor, ask them, hey, who's the plumbing company on this job? The other way is, if you want to do residential or commercial service, watch TV. Who's advertising? Contact those people and, man, see what you can do. Uh, Colin D, do I believe in anode rides? Absolutely. I've been on the tour and went to iTech and studied at Bradford White. And man, after the first year, if you'll replace an anode rod, you can probably double the life of a water heater. Very big deal, but I think that is amazing. Thomas Curl in Denton, Texas is a civil engineer. Fantastic. I tell you what, I love to see when civil engineers and mechanical engineers become plumbers because man, they understand it, they get it. And man, when it comes to blueprint reading, you guys would be great in commercial because I can't tell you how many times I'd always look back at civil drawings to make sure about my grade and elevation and things like that. So man, love what you're doing, Thomas, and thank you for being in here. I really do appreciate it. Paul Peck, 25-year licensed drywall contractor and painting contractor, East Central Florida. So, guys, look, it's not just plumbing. There are some great trades that you can get into and really do well. I love plumbing. I love electrical. I love HVAC. Don't ever tell an electrician or HVAC tech I said that. I love sheetrock. There's a lot of different trades that you can get into and make a great living, and you don't have to go to college. And this is the way to start. You start watching videos, you start learning about it, and then you decide, this is what I want to do. And if you watch people long enough, like Paul or myself, we'll teach you how to do what we do. There's a great trade waiting for you, and you don't have to go to college to get into it. Now, if you decided you went to college first and now you know everything about business, but now you want to own a plumbing company, just come write me a check. We can work a deal out. I've actually got people asking me about buying my company. I love that. Guys, here's the deal. I need great plumbers. Paul, if you'll just put a yes or no in there, if you had some great sheetrock guys come up to you, great drywallers or great painters, either way, and say, I need a job. Are you hiring today? Because I don't know of a trade in the Texas area that's not hiring. Nicole, I do start school for a bachelor's in construction management. I love that. However, I wanted to maximize and do the apprenticeship, be through it, but not impossible. I get it. So here's what I did. I came up open shop. I got into the union later, but once I started the instructor training program, I started going through the UA University and doing construction management through it. Thoroughly loved it. Funny story, it's always been a dream to move to Texas, but I couldn't pass up Florida. You know what? I've been to Florida too. I've been out to Orlando a few times. I love it out there. Really love it. I actually spoke at VidCon. I think that was this year. So I've had a lot of fun out there. I do. I love Florida. Love California. I love anywhere warm. Mexico, Cozumel, Cancun, Playa Car. I'm all over it. I love to scuba dive. So that kind of really turns me on about Florida. I've been over to the west side and gone scuba diving there, and man, it's just great. So, and Paul, if you hadn't seen it, man, my little YouTube clock here, coolest thing on earth. I've got a link to it in, like, I think the video that we did last week. That thing is cool though, because it hooks up through Wi-Fi. It keeps up with my subs, my views, my minutes. Keeps up with so many different things. If you're on YouTube, guys, that is a cool toy to have. Always looking for good, motivated tradesmen. And that's it. Somebody asked a while ago, what do you got to do to be good? And guys, you've got to be motivated. You've got to want to work harder than anybody on the job. You've got to want to always do the right thing, no matter what. And, I hate to say it, but there's so many plumbers out there that won't do the right thing. Matter of fact, they'll go out of their way to do the wrong thing and then look you in the eye and lie to you and tell you, hey, I did the right thing. So it's not always good. And if you can show up, and I'll go through them again, give 8 hours work for 8 hours pay, have a great attitude, respect the journeyman, whether it's a plumber, a sheetrocker, electrician, whatever it is, respect the journeyman that's working with you and taking the time to teach you the right way to do things. Guys, it can be huge. It really can. So I have gone about 10 minutes over today, guys. Those of y'all that didn't hear when I started out, I woke up in San Antonio this morning at 3:45. Did my little over 4 miles on the treadmill, went and did Fox KABB 29 morning show at 9 this morning. So, if y'all want to, y'all can go over there and watch it. Just please leave a comment. Tell them how amazingly wonderful I was. I'm joking. Guys, I appreciate y'all being in here today. I love doing this. And we do try to do this every Monday at 4:00. So I hope you like it. Hope you love it. And I hope you come back for some more of it. I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the expert plumber, and I'll see you on the next video if you don't get flushed.